Welcome to each of you. It is so good to gather here today. Welcome to our annual meeting for PAM. It's our hope that today you learn more about the ways that PAM is nurturing ministries in your congregation and helping to equip pastors and musicians. I call this meeting to order, and I'd love for us to join together in prayer. Please pray. Holy God, for these people and for the work of PAM, we give you deep thanks. May our ministry together serve your people and praise you. Amen. Well, I'm Emily Floyd, and it is a joy to be with you today. I'm the president of PAM, and I wanted to let you know that if you have questions throughout this meeting, there is a way to submit questions. At the very bottom of your Zoom screen, if you don't see a Q&A button already, you'll see in the center the chat and the share and raise hand and things like that. There is a button that says More with three dots. And if you push the More button, you'll see that there's a Q&A possibility there. So as we go along, if you have some questions or comments, if you put them in the Q&A, we will answer all those questions at the very end. So without further ado, let's get going to our meeting. So next slide. A few years ago, the board engaged in a visioning process, and we adopted these goals that you see before you. And it's quite ambitious, and we're very proud of the progress we've been making. First, we endeavor to equip and invest in next generation leadership. You'll see that in especially planning teams. You'll see that in committee makeups. At the end of each in-person board meeting, we do a lot of brainstorming, really thinking about ways that we can equip and invest in next generation leadership. If you have ideas about whom we can include, we would love for you to contact us. Send me an email and or contact the national office, and we'd love to get next gen leadership invested. We also are deeply investigating, understanding, and elevating diverse worship styles. You might feel that in worship services that are a part of PAM's work. You might feel that in region events and in publications where we're trying to explore and impart new strategies. So, diverse worship styles. We're working to support membership and their success in their roles across the country. Our education resources committee is deep at work. You've seen or heard about our new podcast. We're trying to be very adventurous in ways that we can support our membership. And that begins especially with our region activity. As things pop up that are close to you, we hope you'll take advantage of going to those region events, either online or in person. And it's my hope that you feel that you have access to both our staff and our board members. Our website is an incredible resource. Please go there. You'll see that it looks new and fresh, and we're updating it all the time. So please take advantage of having access to us so that we can support you. And finally, a new goal for us is to embed diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging throughout PAM and its offerings. It's always been our goal, but we have renewed energy in trying to invest in that way. And you'll hear more from that new committee, the DEIB committee, soon. And now I'd like to turn it over to President-elect Josh Taylor.
Thank you so much, Emily. I get the joy of sharing with you all the new folks that are coming on to our executive board and onto our advisory council. Thanks goes to our nominating committee that helped us to think about who will help lead this organization for the next few years. And I want to say right off the top that nominations are an ongoing process. So if as you're thinking about whether or not you would like to serve this organization or somebody else that maybe would be a wonderful leader in some of these roles, please share those with members of the nominating committee. We're constantly thinking about folks to fill those roles for future years. So we're very excited that we have new board members who will be joining as the class of 2029. Jamie Martinez, who's in North Carolina, who has been a member of our advisory council and is now coming on to our board. Will Smith from Denver, Colorado, who has served on faculty for the Worship and Music Conference at Montreat, among other things. And Sarah Lynch coming on as our secretary, who has been a part of our governance committee. So folks that have already been serving PAM and who are now going to serve in these new roles. And then finally, Kirsten Foyles as our new president-elect. Next slide, please. The advisory council is something that we continue to live into as an organization with a wonderful group of folks who gather a couple of times a year just to share their expertise with the organization. And as one of the advisory council members put it, to serve as PAM ambassadors for us out in the wider community. And so I'm very excited that we have three new members for the class of 2029. Mark Lawson, who has been a important strategic partner for us with E.C. Shermer and Morningstar Publications, has helped with the PAM Anthem series for a number of years. Tanner Pickett, who is on the staff at Montreat Conference Center. We're excited. This will be the first time that we have a representative from the Conference Center serving on our advisory council. And obviously, Montreat Conference Center is an important strategic partner for the Presbyterian Association of Musicians. And finally, Miata Wilson, who is in Dallas, Texas, but who serves on the staff in what used to be the Office of Christian Formation, was a Christian educator at First Pres Dallas for a number of years, among other places. And so we're so grateful for the expertise that these three folks bring to our advisory council and look forward to our continued conversations with them. And finally, next slide. Our nominating committee. So our next nominating committee, we are trying to be very intentional about having folks that have been a part of our nominating committee so that we have some continuity between each year. And so thanks to Jennifer Jones for returning to our nominating committee for that purpose. And then also Will Young from First Pres in Charlotte, and the Reverend Evan Wildhack joining us from our Northeast area in New York. So those are the folks, along with Kirsten Foyles, who is the new president-elect, to reach out to if you have suggestions for next year's nominating committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh. And we're looking forward to your leadership as president coming up in, I guess, October, November. So thank you for all your thoughtfulness so far. Okay, and now we turn it over to the wonderful Kelly Abraham, who is our executive director, with some news about our annual report.
Thanks, Emily. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for joining us today. Part of the requirement in our governance materials is that we produce an annual report and we present it at the annual meeting. So this next portion of the meeting is going to be providing you with that information. We will post the annual report to our website and mail it out to all of you in the newsletter on May 1st. Donors will receive that tomorrow in an email. So here we go. As we reflect on 25, I am so grateful for the way God continues to work through the Presbyterian Association of Musicians. PAM exists to nurture the church's song and to strengthen those who need it. And in a changing church landscape, this work really matters. This year, our story is one of growth and impact. Next slide. In addition to what you see on this slide, membership increased more than 9%. Our Worship and Music Conference welcomed over 1,400 participants, and our regional gatherings and resources reached hundreds across the country. Because of your generosity, we awarded 85 scholarships, ensuring that formation, connection, and inspiration remain accessible to all. And we also finished the year in a strong financial position, with increased giving, growing reserves, and new restricted funds that speak to both trust in our mission and hope for our future. Over the next several minutes, you're going to hear more about how this shared work comes to life through the faithful leadership of PAM's committees, the continued growth and support of our First Call community, and the impact of the first year of our Lilly Grant Child Blessing. Together, these stories reflect the many ways PAM is accompanying musicians, congregations, and pastors in this season of the church's life. The psalmist reminds us to sing to the Lord a new song, for he has done marvelous things. Thank you for helping the church continue to sing that song with beauty, depth, and faithfulness. I'm grateful to each of you and excited for the ways God is leading PAM into 2026. And now I'm turning it over to PAM's Membership Committee Chair, Carl Zinsmeister, to share 2025 highlights of the Membership Committee.
Thank you, Kelly. As a PAM board member at large, I chair the Membership Committee, and we're actually made up of several subcommittees. You see the bullet points in front of you, and I'll give you just a few highlights. New Member Engagement Subcommittee provides hospitality and orientation to first-time conference attendees. We also seek to keep connections going throughout the year with these new PAM members. You can see, and as you've already heard from Kelly, that we do a fantastic job of distributing scholarship funds. 85 awards were presented last year, as Kelly mentioned. We also awarded 2 honorary lifetime membership awards. And this year we've received nominations for the 2026 recipients, and you'll be hearing about that later in our meeting. 2025 was also the first year to offer a revitalization grant. In addition to funds that help support either revitalizing or strengthening or starting a new music ministry program, the grant provides a discount for one conference registration and periodic consultations throughout the year to help guide people in their revitalization and development. And if there's anything that sparks an interest for you, we are always happy to have folks join one of our subcommittees on membership, and you can talk to me at one of this summer's conferences or get in touch with me. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carl. That's exciting. And now I turn it over to Melissa McNair King, who is the visionary and overseer and shepherd of our Child of Blessing, which is a grant received from the Lilly Foundation. Melissa.
Thank you. My name is Melissa McNair King. I'm serving as the program manager for Child of Blessing, and I'm excited to share kind of what we have been working on during the first year of Child of Blessing. I do want to give a special thanks to Sally Ann McKenzie, who is our resource director, and to the advisory committee who helped develop this program, and to all of the PAM staff for their support of this ministry. In the first half of 2025, our focus was on listening well to worship leaders and volunteers about their joys and challenges around including children in worship. Over 80 people participated in listening sessions, some of them in person and many online. And hearing their needs and their hopes has directly shaped resource development. The grant for this program was written with a commitment to field testing materials. So I want to thank the 49 congregations who have already enrolled as partner churches. They have agreed to try in their primary worship service accessible liturgy, new prayer practices, congregational song, ways of including children more deeply in the sacraments, and then to reflect and offer feedback. That testing began with the first Sunday of Advent on November 29th, 2025, and will continue for the full 3-year lectionary cycle. Partner churches have been sharing how these resources are resonating so far with both the children and the adults in their congregations, and have especially appreciated the repetition, accessible language, and offering ways that children can take on leadership roles in worship. They've also shared how they edited or adapted resources, giving us some constructive ways to go back and make changes, and also ways to make new plans for the years and seasons ahead. These partner churches really are giving a gift to the larger church through their feedback as this program evolves and grows. So if you or your church might like to learn more, feel free to reach out to me anytime. We do have a monthly Zoom gathering that is open to anyone. The link and the topics are always listed on the website. We are still enrolling congregations who would like to test resources and share their feedback, and you can find more details, including my contact info, on presbymusic.org/Child of Blessing.
Thank you, Melissa. That's so exciting. Okay, and now we'll hear from Brian Tanaka, who chairs our Regions Connecting Committee.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Tanaka. I am a PAM board member. There has been so much exciting activity in the Regions Connecting Committee. In 2025, our regions remained active and creative, hosting 11 workshops, hymn festivals, concerts, and webinars across the country. Programming included Lenten and Advent resources, Black History Month webinars, worship planning workshops, and several inspiring regional choral festivals. And we are extremely grateful for the dedication of our regional leaders and the energy they continue to bring to our membership and how they show up in the work that they do. This past November, the Regions Task Force met to thoughtfully evaluate our current regional structure and consider the best path forward in communication with the committee, the board, and ultimately us, the membership. As a result of these conversations, the PAM board will be receiving some organizational adjustment recommendations for the coming year. And I will say that we are at an inflection point because we are willing to do the sometimes hard and messy work over the last 5 years or so since the inception of our regions. Our goal is simple and hopeful: to uplift and strengthen the excellent events our regions already offer, will continue to offer, while removing some of the structural barriers that have occasionally made it harder for us to fully live out PAM's mission and vision. And I believe these changes will help us connect more effectively, support our leaders better, and create even more meaningful opportunities for worship and music across our organization. The board will continue working closely with regional leaders as we explore these improvements together. And lastly, thank you. I do look forward to another year of making worship and music and continuing to serve the leaders who do so.
Oh, thank you, Brian. As you heard at the beginning of the meeting, it's one of our big strategic goals to support the membership, and doing that through regions is an important part of our work, and we're figuring out ways to move forward. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to you and the committee. Okay, and next, Annette Gord is going to talk to us about the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging.
Thank you, Emily. Good afternoon. I am Annette Eckerd-Gord. I am the minister at Clarksville Presbyterian Church in Clarksville, Virginia, and I am also the chair of PAM's DEIB Roundtable. As you can see on the slide, and as I am delighted to share with you this afternoon, the response to a survey that the Roundtable circulated to our membership in December and January last year, over 50% of participants responded that diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging were extremely important to the programs, the leadership, and the community life that we're working to foster here at PAM. Also, among those responded, it was noted that program content and worship were at the very top of the list of areas that folks felt we should focus our efforts, which makes sense since in a diverse community such as PAM, the Spirit speaks to and through each and every one of us in many and varied voices. And so to that end, in conjunction with our denomination, this year the Roundtable revised its committee description within our governance documents to align with PCUSA's Book of Order, affirming that in Christ, by the power of the Holy Spirit through our baptism, we are united in our diversity, regardless of race, ethnicity, age, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, geography, or theological conviction. Our hope at the Roundtable is that through education and awareness, DEIB may become integral to the very identity of PAM and become not a challenge to solve, but an opportunity to embrace. Thank you so much.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Okay, next slide. I'll be talking about our Educational Resources Committee, which has a lot of work to accomplish year after year. And here are some of the highlights. We conducted a national survey on compensation and responsibilities of church musicians. with almost 500 responses. That is an important thing that many of us are so curious about and need desperately that information to move forward. We've published survey results on PAM's website and planned a podcast deep dive for 2026. We have collaborated to create 5 quick sheet resources, and those are guides for ministry that you can find on our website. If you go to the resources page, you'll find a whole host of many quick sheets that you can look through and just entertain yourself and learn and use those resources. Our call to worship journal, I hope that you have seen that, used it, have accessed it. We both have hard copy versions and on our website as well. So please take advantage of all the liturgy writing, the hymn suggestions, the music repertoire suggestions that come out year after year in our call to worship journal. We have facilitated preparations to launch the Sounding Board podcast in 2025. And here it is, 2026, and we have the podcast. You can find it on our website. You can find access to it on YouTube, Apple. You can find it at Spotify. So just wherever you find podcasts, please look up Sounding Board. There will be something for everyone to enjoy. And last but not least, we have awarded certification of 2 individuals as church musicians. So happy, happy. All right. And now I would like to turn it over to Mark Kemp, who chairs our subcommittee, our First Call community.
Hi, friends. It's great to let you know that the FCC community is doing quite well. It serves our newest pastors and musicians, those pastors who have been ordained in the previous year and musicians that have found their way to Presbyterian and Reformed worship styles. New musicians and pastors, as they encounter these things, answer questions and find out the things they didn't learn in seminary or grad school and wonder about them together. We do those things in 3 ways. First, we introduce them. Our first goal is to introduce them to PAM, to the resource that PAM is, and to start building a relationship between them and PAM and with one another. That goes with a membership that is funded by various grants from various places. Really important introduction to the community because we know these folks don't have a lot of continuing education funds as they begin their ministry. After that, we extend the work of FCC into online meetings. Once a month, we call them hallway gatherings, where we talk about wonderful things like planning worship or changing worship plans in the midst of crisis, which you could argue happens weekly these days. Things that may adjust your plans from Tuesday as you approach Sunday. We talk about things like engaging worship styles. We talk about nuance and liturgy, all these different things. We've also encountered authors. We've spoke recently with Noel Snyder from the Calvin Institute of Christian Worship about his book, Sermons That Sing, and that's applying techniques from both sermon writing and preparation with work from the music world and finding common ground between these 2 things. So wonderful combination of conversation between these 2 groups, leaning on one another and building relationships there. And finally, we've just come back not long ago, though it seems like the other side of Lent, from our spring gathering at Austin Seminary, where a smaller group of people from the First Call community got together. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday gathering that is fully funded by grants as well to fly people in, spend time in face-to-face conversation, fellowship, and engagement with really wonderful conversation, worshiping together. We'll do the same longer extended time at the Worship and Music Conference with a group of 10 new pastors and musicians as they get to experience and fully participate in the Worship and Music Conference, but also in an intensive way as a group together. So the work of First Call Community continues, and it's a wonderful thing to see there on the slide that the FCC fund has grown to $70,000. And that's been a big initiative of the board, and I'm grateful for the board's dedication and support of all the work of FCC. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Beautiful work. Okay, and now we'll hear from Sarah Lynch, who is a part of our governance committee.
Hello. The governance committee serves the board by providing guidance and documentation on organizational structure and procedure. It's really thrilling work. On your screen, on your screen are the highlights of that service for the past year. The ex officio non-voting representative from Presbyterian Life and Witness has been a meaningful addition to the board. And our fabulous executive director, Kelly Abraham's job description is now more aligned with the work that she does for PAM. We are grateful to continue our service by keeping documents clear and up to date. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Might not be glamorous, but it's an important job. Thank you, Sarah, and your committee. Okay, now we get to talk about our finance committee, and with great thanks to our treasurer, Brent Ivy.
Hello, friends. What a pleasure it is to be able to share the financial news of PAM with you. And we are so pleased that you are here today. Chief among the celebrations is the fact that we ended 2025 with a surplus. It's a 7 consecutive year that has happened. This is the result of some incredibly hard work, and most importantly, the generosity on the part of our donors. On the next slide, you'll see a breakdown of our statement of activities by operational areas. You can read the numbers for yourselves, but I would love to highlight just a few items for you. Under development, you'll see that the contributions to our annual fund totaled over $104,000 for 2025. And just by comparison, in 2017, our annual fund contributions totaled $11,800. So in 8 years, friends, that number has increased by over $92,000. And that is amazing and something to celebrate. While we're here, I would like to pause and thank all of our generous donors, of course, but also our granting agencies for 2025. The PCUSA for the annual denominational support, and the PCUSA's Financial Aid Service, First Presbyterian in Dunedin, Florida, and Myers Park Pres for their support of the First Call community, which Mark was just speaking about. We want to thank First Pres in Shreveport, Louisiana, for providing the golf carts, which are a big hit for the 2025 worship conference, and to Westminster Presbyterian in Greenville, South Carolina, for their support of the conference in turn. So because of your generosity, we have been able to keep worship and music registration costs well below any conference of its magnitude. And I think we all know that every time we register. Your gifts continue to allow us to expand our offerings and to be responsive to you in new and inventive ways. Because of you, PAM is indeed flourishing. We could not be more fortunate in having Elizabeth Diver join us. You're going to hear from her in a minute as our new development manager. And as you can see, Elizabeth is helping us reach new heights in member connection, engagement, and generosity. I encourage you to look at all the numbers on this slide, and I'm going to ask that we move on to the next slide. And I would like to talk about what you see there is restricted net assets. And again, by comparison, in 2017, we had $318,000 in quasi-endowment restricted funds. And now you can see that in 2025, we entered the year with $1.9 million across 14 different funds. And the interest from these gifts, among other initiatives, provides the scholarships that you've heard about, supports the First Call community, and very exciting, supports the stipends for 7 worship and music faculty positions each year. At the end of the day, the generosity of PAM members, past and present, is making a significant difference in the life of our organization. And I also would like to point out that, as Melissa shared earlier, the Child of Blessing grant under her deft leadership continues to gain traction. Exciting work, but that $1.2 million grant is not even included in that 1.9. It's in a different fund. So we are in an amazing place, friends. And just in closing, I would be completely remiss if I did not express our deep gratitude for the staff in the national office. Under Kelly's leadership, they have not only strengthened our operations, but truly transformed our organization. Along with your joyful support and the hard work in the national office, PAM is positioned on the most solid financial and operational footing that we have ever experienced. And that is indeed something that we get to celebrate. So thank you all.
Wow, wonderful. It's inspiring.
It is very
Well,
inspiring. Thank you.
very inspiring indeed. Okay, so now you get to hear from Elizabeth Dybert, our development manager, and what a joy it will be to hear about all that's been happening in development.
Thanks so much. We are grateful to use 715 donors. What a banner year. Whether you gave $50 or $500 or 5,000 or 50,000, you have used your God-given gifts to make it possible for PAM to achieve our goals. And to share worship resources across the United States, giving adults, youth, and children an opportunity to be inspired at the best annual intergenerational worship conference in the country. I'm not at all biased, am I? We offering those resources and support to worship leaders, especially those in first calls, and being a blessing in the nurture of children via inclusion and creativity in our worship services. Further, your gifts have extended PAM's reach via the faith shared in our new podcast sounding board. We're so grateful that our annual fund campaign exceeded its goal by 10,000 and that scholarship monies are always so reliable, making our conference accessible to everyone. Monthly sustainers make such a difference, and I'll be sharing more about that later. The Hobson family gave a major leading gift for the Service Musician Fund, and it is so exciting to watch that fund grow. That will be a focus for our fundraising at the conference. Grants from churches, 18 of them to be specific, but also Lilly and other ecclesiastical organizations are so very, very valuable to us as they make it possible for us to have all kinds of things, golf carts, children's music packets, first call community, child of blessing, so much more. As we have the growing restricted funds from major gifts, a tremendous blessing, we are investing them to guarantee a strong future for PAM. So these are the funds that as they reach milestones of 50, 100, and $150,000, they produce annual income, and those investments permanently fund the designated purposes for which they are given. And Kelly's going to tell you more about that as we move to the next slide.
Thank you, Elizabeth. These are the three new funds I just want to share with you that we are super excited about for 25. The first one we'll talk about, we'll start with the right, the Hal and Martha Hobson Service Musician Fund. And Elizabeth talked about this seed grant, and this came to honor Hal and Martha right before Hal's passed this past summer. We are excited about this fund. This will fund one of the service musicians. Our goal is 150,000 for this, and we can tell you that at the Worship and Music Conference this summer, the board has voted to change Wednesday night's offering. If you've come to the conference, the Hymn Festival on Wednesday night, we do an offering that has typically been for the scholarship fund. We're comfortable with the balance in that fund, so we're going to shift that offering to the Hal and Martha Hobson Service Musician Fund in the hopes that we can get that funded. I can tell you a little secret on this group of 45 of us that Martha's daughters are planning to bring Martha this summer, so we're super excited to honor her at the conference with that. The second one is the Jane Austen Cunningham and E.P. Cunningham II Scholarship Fund. This comes from two generous gifts from Camille Boone. If you come week one of Worship and Music, you may have met Camille Boone in the dining room at Assembly Inn. She is a wonderful human being and has created this scholarship fund for a music director, I believe, at a small church, and that will be able to bring one person, cover all of the funding to get them to come to the conference. And so We're excited about that. That is about a year away from being fully funded. The third one that has Pam's logo is called the PAM Restricted Fund. This is a new fund we've established, and we're just going to slowly grow this over time, we hope, with undesignated planned gifts, estate gifts that we receive without any sort of direction. But this fund we're hoping will grow, and that will spin off money to fund the office. As you all well know, because many of you work in churches, how much it costs to fund the staff. And our hope is, in an effort to continue to keep costs low, this fund we can raise to help cover things like pension, like insurance, like our operating costs, as some of you noticed how much this went up over the last year. And our hope is to continue to find ways to create funds that we don't have to put a burden on the membership, and we can continue to keep costs low. So this is a new one. We're pretty excited about it, but I just wanted to share some joy with you. Back to Elizabeth.
And next slide. Yes, thank you. And so to fully realize Pam's mission in 2026, we're going to be focused on the following things. We've got to sustain, you can see the numbers there in front of you on the screen, but here's what is behind them. We will continue to sustain the core revenue streams. Membership dues and registration fees will remain strong even as operating expenses rise and churches navigate a changing ministry landscape. It's a challenging time, but as Brent pointed out, PAM is still strong in a challenging time. Secondly, we will grow a more resilient base by increasing the annual fund and monthly giving. This year, we'll be adding a themed Sustained in the Spirit campaign to build up our number of monthly sustainers. So you'll be hearing more about that in the next 2 months. Next, we will prioritize major donor development, strengthening our mission capacity and securing significant gifts that support our core operations and our program growth and our accessibility and our leadership development. We will increase sponsorships and strategic partnerships, especially working with those aligned with worship education and sacred music. We will pursue grants and restricted gifts that are so important to our accessibility initiatives, like transportation at Montreat and accessible printed materials and improved digital platforms. We will build long-term stability through the restricted fund and the legacy giving. We will be working hard on legacy giving and encouraging all of you to think about your planning for the future, for your future when you're singing with the angels, and how you can leave a legacy behind to make sure that those who are left on earth are still singing God's praise. So we always hope to strengthen our connections with you and to express our deep and abiding gratitude for your generosity, which makes Pam's life together so meaningful and inspiring. Next slide, please. And we look forward to your participation in our Sustained in the Spirit campaign, which rolls out in May. We hope you can have a little fun with us as we celebrate your faithfulness in giving at our Beer and Hymns event. And we are counting on you in early November when we culminate our annual fund campaign with All Saints Give to Pam. So this summer, we will be looking for people like you to be leading donors for that campaign to establish those matching gifts so that we can continue to move forward in the future to provide inspiration for all worship leaders everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Important work. And now I'll turn it over to Carl Zinsmeister, who will be announcing an award. And if you want to do a little silent drum roll on your knees, here we go.
Each year, PAM members are invited to nominate individuals for this award of distinction. Honorary lifetime members are persons who, in the judgment of the board, have given distinguished service in promoting and living out the purposes and objectives of PAM's mission. Honorary lifetime members receive all the benefits and privileges of PAM membership. It is my honor today to share with you a little bit about this year's recipient. This individual is a highly respected musician whose career reflects a deep commitment to both performance and education. Since 1989, they have served as a university faculty member and held numerous leadership roles, including chair of the music department and an arts division representative on the faculty council. Formerly, they served as president of the Music Educators Association in their state and was inducted into their Hall of Fame in 2023. An engaging clinician, they have presented sessions in southeastern states as well as in Arkansas, Massachusetts, California, and Michigan. They are an institutional evaluator for the National Association of Schools of Music and an active performance assessment adjudicator nationwide. In addition to their recognition as an exemplary educator, their honors include membership in Pi Kappa Lambda, Phi Mu Alpha, and Kappa Delta Pi. A celebrated chamber musician and conductor, they are founder and music director of the Palmetto Posanen, a professional trombone choir. Their orchestral experiences include membership in numerous symphonies across the Southeast. They are a member of John Knox Presbyterian Church in Greenville, South Carolina, where they currently serve on the session and as moderator of the Music and Worship Committee. Beyond session responsibilities, they have contributed to the life of the church as interim chancel choir director, a Sunday school teacher for the youth, and an audio technician during worship services. He and his wife are the proud parents of 3 wonderful children, each of whom has married an equally wonderful spouse, creating a family that continues to grow in love, connection, and a shared enthusiasm for great food and travel. And if you ever need advice on how to spoil a grandchild, he and his wife have plenty of tips to offer. One of his greatest joys has been the 12 summers spent as instrumental music director for the PAM Worship and Music Conference at Montreat. Working alongside dedicated musicians, liturgists, scholars, and support staff, each one remarkable in their own way, has shaped him deeply. Please join me in congratulating Mark Britt as the 2026 recipient of PAM's Honorary Lifetime Membership Award.
Oh, thank you, Mark, for your many, many, many years of service toward Pam. Is Mark on the call? I can't remember.
He had planned to be as
I'm
well.
here.
He's here.
I'm here. Now I can see if I could find my video, start video, see what that does. Yeah, here we go. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Am I supposed to be speaking? I'm sorry. I tried to.
You may, if you'd like to.
That's great. I couldn't figure out how to get this thing to work. Anyway, thank you all so much. I was just absolutely blown away when Carl called about this. I wanted to make sure he knew who he was talking to, if he was speaking to the right person, but he assured me that he was. I'm still not convinced after seeing the list of these other folks that my name goes on that list, but I am just tickled to be part of this. So that's where we'll leave it there.
You're a joy to be around, and your gifts and service are so appreciated. We look forward to seeing you this summer at the conference, and thanks for all your wisdom, your happiness, and your expertise. Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you.
All right, and now we turn it over to David Vandermeer and Melissa McNair King to talk about who will be a witness, our 26th Music and Worship Conference.
We are just over 2 months away from PAM's Worship and Music Conference in Montreat. This year, we're gathering around the theme, Who Will Be a Witness? This joyful spiritual has guided our plans for worship and study, and we look forward to a week of hope and renewal together. Our faculty and planning team have prepared for worship, rehearsals, and seminars that will invite each of us and all of us together to find ourselves among God's great cloud of witnesses, ready to engage the world with compassion and truth.
Something unique to this year is an opportunity for our conferees to lead in worship at the PCUSA's General Assembly. Toward the end of week 1,
Portions of the conference will be recorded so that anthems, particularly from the children's and youth choirs, can be shared during the General Assembly worship. This is one of the ways for conferees to share their gifts with the larger church and for the General Assembly to experience a taste of intergenerational worship.
We are grateful for the return of the golf cart ministry, making this conference more accessible for more people. And we would love to welcome you as a rider or as a driver. You can volunteer during registration. And if you missed that, you've already registered, feel free to email Lisa Myers.
And please remember that registration rates increase on May 1st. If you know of groups or individuals who would like to take advantage of the on-time rate, please nudge them to register within the next 2 weeks. We look forward to seeing you in June.
Thank you. What a team. Extend our thanks to the whole planning team, and we look forward to the staff, and we can't wait to see you all there. Okay. And I now turn it over to Kelly for some upcoming events.
Sure. Just wanted to point all of you in that direction. What we've got coming up. April 21st is our next podcast drop. Remember, first and third Tuesday of each month. And hope you'll tune in. There's a QR code if you want to scan your phone right now, you can get there. We've got North Central is hosting a webinar on April 23rd with Karen Maroli. You can sign up for that online. Our last hallway conversation for the First Call community of the season is May 13th. And we've got our next Child of Blessing drop-in conversation on May 14th. Again, you can find all of these at the bottom QR code. You can go to presbymusic.org/event or scan that code.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
All right. And now I'll turn it over to Augie Gill to talk about another upcoming event.
Hi, folks. I'm Augie Gill, and it's great to be with you this afternoon. I serve at Eastminster Presbyterian in Columbia, South Carolina. And we're very excited to be working with PAM to host the Come Find Rest event in September. We're hoping to accomplish a handful of things with this event. In similar fashion and organization to the Mid-Atlantic Festival of Choirs events, we want to engage musicians in a weekend of singing with the aim of providing community and respite through music. And so this is an event that is open to music staff and music lay people, and we'll worship together, rehearse over 2 days, and offer a culminating concert of music and community on Saturday afternoon. And then to another point, we also want to be able to address the fatigue that worship leaders can often experience throughout the year, especially when as soon as we finish one Sunday's worship service, the next is just a handful of days away. And so we'll be featuring a keynote address from Dr. Alicia Walker, who's currently the Director of Choral Studies at the University of South Carolina, and someone who's also had a long career in church music. And so she'll be offering thoughts on what being our best selves can look like, both within the music profession and then also as church musicians, and how we guide others through worship and how we can take care of ourselves. And then there will also be 2 other sessions, one offered by Melissa McNair King, and then another offered by one of Eastminster's congregational care pastors with the aim of offering resources to those who plan and participate in worship. So registration will be live for this event in May, and I'd love to answer any questions that churches or musicians have. So we're hoping to have a great number turn out for this event, for this first of its kind in the South Atlantic and Puerto Rico region. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Augie. And here's Kelly with more information about another region event.
Yes, Lexington, Kentucky is going to host the Mid-South Region's Festival of Choirs. This is the 3rd one in 3 years. This one is going to be part in conjunction with the In One Accord Lexington Sacred Music Festival. Dr. Everett McCorvey will be the conductor for the event. Paul Robinson of First Presbyterian Church in Lexington will be the collaborative pianist. According to Everett in a conversation, this will be the headline event for the festival. All are invited. Bring your choirs. The idea is to come together and to sing. Registration will open in June, and we're thrilled to bring this group together. The idea is to come sing along and bring that repertoire back to your churches.
Thank you. And one more region event. Here is Sam Carlton.
I invite you to join us for our Rooted and Renewed conference, which is a weekend seminar taking place in Lakeland, Florida at First Presbyterian Church, which is halfway between Tampa and Orlando. It is designed for worship leaders, pastors, music directors, children, and youth interested in planning and leadership of meaningful worship. We began on Friday, January 22nd with a light dinner to foster our South Atlantic community, followed by a brief worship service. On Saturday, January 23rd, we move into teaching and interactive sessions that unpack the history and structure of liturgy, the use of congregational anthems, and planning for lay involvement in worship, culminating in a closing worship service with our fabulous clinicians, Melissa McNair King, David Gambrell, and Eric Wall. Children and youth are encouraged to attend and will be integrated throughout the seminar through storytelling, group work, and leadership, highlighting ways churches can empower young people in liturgical roles. Through discussion, creative exercises, and collaboration, the seminar aims to get back to our liturgical roots and renew an appreciation for the rhythms of the church year while equipping leaders with tools to foster vibrant intergenerational worship. I look forward to seeing your smiling face in sunny Florida on January 22nd through 23rd in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Next slide. Okay, and now is our time for questions and answers. And glancing at the Q&A, I don't see any questions, but I see a lot of praises and happiness and celebration, which is just wonderful. Thank you all for taking time out of your day, your very busy day, and post-Easter, to be with us together to celebrate PAM, to learn more, and to get invested in the life of PAM. I think all of us that have spoken today can say that the closer we draw to PAM, the more inspired and nurtured we feel. And so I would encourage you to find ways that you too can get involved, help us to identify those new next generation leaders, and perhaps think about hosting some sort of region event and getting involved. Well, at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting together. And I believe I see Carl and Josh Taylor, first and second of a motion to close the meeting. Go in peace, and we hope to see you in June. Thank you to our staff. Thank you to our board. Thank you to our committee chairs and our region leaders. Thank you.